Hi guys! Next session of Superfudge. Alright, we left off. Peter kind of said something to his dad. And Mom said it wasn't very nice. I didn't care if she felt angry because I did too. It's all right, Anne, Dad said. I think I know what Peter's getting at. He'd like me to be president of the agency. Right, Peter? Well, sure. Who wouldn't want his father to be president? But I don't want to be president of the agency, Dad said, and you've got to try to understand that. I do want to write my book, though. And sometimes you've got to do what's really important to you, even if it's not practical. And I never said I was sick of teeth, Mom told me. I said I wanted to think about a change in careers. So I'm thinking. It will be nice to have a job again, and if Daddy weren't at home writing his book, I wouldn't be able to leave Tootsie, so it's all working out, you see? No, I said, everything is different. What do you mean, Dad asked. I don't know, just everything. Mom going back to work, you writing a book, us living here, Tootsie being born, Fudge going to kindergarten, me in 6th grade. Everything is different. And you don't like it? Mom asked. Is that what you're trying to say? I don't know if I do or I don't. Changes take some getting used to, Dad said, but in the long run, they're healthy. I didn't feel like listening anymore, so I said, Can I call Jimmy tonight? Sure, Dad said. Go ahead. Jimmy answered the phone. Hey, how's it going? He asked. I could tell that he was eating something. I don't know, I told him. Everything's different. I can't get used to it. Well, everything's the same around here, except that you're gone. He must have swallowed because his voice cleared. He told me about school and about our friends and about the way Sheila Tubman is telling the whole world how much she misses me. And then he said, Peter, I have a confession to make. What's that? I've been using your rock. Not just sitting on it, but using it. You know what I mean? It's okay, I said. Don't worry about it. No kidding? No. You're a great friend. You know that? A really great friend. I have a confession to make too, I said. I've been using my Kreskin's crystal. Not just looking at it, but using it to get to sleep at night. Oh, he said. So I guess we're even, I said. I guess so. But he didn't sound as if I were the world's greatest friend anymore. I saw a painting by your father today, I told him, ready to change the subject. The white one, with the black circles in the red square. Oh, that one, he said. My father painted that one right before my mother left for Vermont. One night, they had this big fight, and she threw red paint on the canvas. That's how the red square got there, and that's why they call it Anita's anger. I didn't know what to say, because Jimmy never talks about his parents' divorce, so I changed the subject again. Do you know how much it costs? $2,500. Can you believe that anyone would pay that much for it? Shows how much you know about art, Peter. It sounded as if he had something in his mouth again. Pretzels, I thought. My father's last 3 paintings were sold for over $2,000 apiece, so before you go around opening your big fat mouth, you should find out what you're talking about. And he hung up. Great. Just what I needed. My best friend hanging up on me. He'll probably call back in 10 minutes, I thought. But he didn't. I waited until Halloween afternoon to call him. It's me, I said. I'm sorry. About what? He asked. You know, about the price of your father's paintings. Oh, that. It just so happens that my parents are thinking about buying it. Which one? You know, Anita's anger. Oh, that one. You should tell them to buy a different painting. Anita's anger is a ripoff. Even my father said so. But you said... I know what I said. For a minute, neither of us spoke. Finally, I asked, So what are you doing for Halloween? The usual, he said. Nothing. How about you? I'm taking Fudge trick-or-treating. How'd you get roped into that? I volunteered. You volunteered? I think he was chewing gum this time. You weren't kidding when you said everything's changed. He was chewing gum. I could tell he was blowing a bubble, and I thought I heard the pop when the bubble broke. My mother and father were surprised when I told them I'd take Fudge trick-or-treating, but Alex said he'd come with me as long as he didn't have to walk next to Fudge or hold his hand crossing streets or anything gross like that. Besides, we planned to take him out early, bring him home, then go out by ourselves. And I knew how badly he wanted to go with us and not with Mom or Dad like all the kindergarten babies. Alex called for me at 6:30, and when I saw him, I couldn't believe it. He was wearing a costume, a sheet decorated with black circles and one red square. I'm Anita's anger, he said. You like it? He turned around a couple of times, holding his arms out. It's different, I said. What are you? He asked. Me? I said. I was wearing jeans and a flannel shirt, the same clothes that I'd worn to school that day. He's a 6th grader, Fudge said, and Tootsie's a baby, and Turtle's a dog, and Mommy's a mommy, and Daddy's a daddy, but I'm a scary, scary ghost. Ooh! Fudge swooped across the room. You mean you're not going to wear a costume? Alex said. Not even a mask? Sure I am, I said. It's upstairs. Wait a minute, and I'll go get it. I raced up the stairs and found Mom changing Tootsie. Where's Fudge's disguise? I asked her. She looked blank. The one he sent away for, 4 cereal box tops and 25 cents. Oh, that disguise, Mom said, sprinkling baby powder on Tootsie's backside. I'm not sure. But, Mom, I need it right away, so please try to remember. I thought you said you weren't dressing up this year. I changed my mind, and Alex is downstairs waiting. Let's see, Mom said, fastening Tootsie's clean diaper. It could be in with Fudgy's toys. He's always liked that disguise. Look in his closet, in the red toy box. I ran down the hall to Fudge's room and threw open his closet door. The red toy box, the red toy box. Here it is. I dragged it out and rummaged through it, and there, at the very bottom, in a Pepperidge Farm cookie box, were the black eyeglass rims attached to the rubber nose and the stick-on beard and mustache. I also found an old hat that once belonged to Grandfather Hatcher. I smoothed it out and put it on, along with Fudge's disguise. I checked myself in the bathroom mirror, then ran downstairs. That's mine, Fudge hollered when he saw me. I'm just borrowing it for a few hours. No, no, no. No, I said. Okay, then you don't get to go trick-or-treating with me and Alex. You can go with Daddy, like all the kindergarten babies. Bye. I flung off the glasses and rubber nose, tossed them aside, and acted like I was really going to leave without him. No, he cried. Come back, Peter. Not unless I get to wear the disguise. Okay, you can wear it, but it's still mine, right? Yeah, sure, it's still yours. I looked over at Alex, who was shaking his head. Alex still can't figure my family. We grabbed our UNICEF boxes and our pillowcases to hold our loot, and we left. We worked our way up one side of the street, then down the other. When we got close to Mrs. Moldauer's house, Alex said, Maybe she'll give us some worms for a treat. Worms? Fudge said. Yeah, Alex told him. She's very big on worms. So is Uncle Feather, Fudge said. Uncle Feather is a bird, I said. Why does everybody keep saying that? Fudge asked. I know Uncle Feather is a bird. He was quiet for a minute. Then he said, What does she do with her worms? She eats them, Alex said. Really? Fudge asked me. We think so, I told him. We walked up the path to Mrs. Moldauer's house, and Alex rang the bell. If she gives us worms, we can feed them to Uncle Feather, Fudge whispered. Shush, I told him. Mrs. Moldauer opened the door. She was wearing a jogging suit. Well, 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 she said. What a cute little ghost. I'm not cute. I'm scary, Fudge told her. Ooh! Mrs. Muldaur clutched at her chest. Oh my, you are a very scary ghost. Hi, Mrs. Muldaur, Alex said. Hello, Alex. That's an unusual costume you're wearing. It's called Anita's Anger, Alex said. I got the idea from a painting I saw downtown. Mrs. Muldaur turned away from us and called, Beverly, Beverly, come here. You've got to see this. Right away, I knew it was her, Giraffe Neck. I knew before I could even see her face. I knew by the way she walked from the other room to the front door and by the curly hair. This is my daughter Beverly, Mrs. Muldaur said to us. Then she turned to Beverly and said, Alex is dressed as a painting. Can you guess which one? Beverly studied Alex for a minute. Well, with the white background, the black circles, and the red square, it must be Anita's Anger. Right, Alex said. I thought about telling Beverly about the night Jimmy's parents had had their big fight and how Mrs. Fargo had dumped red paint on Mr. Fargo's canvas and how Mr. Fargo had named his painting Anita's Anger because Anita is Jimmy's mother. I thought about telling her the whole story, but then I remembered how I've told Jimmy things that I wouldn't have told anybody else, and I knew that if I were Jimmy, I wouldn't want my best friend telling the whole world's secrets about my family. Do you really eat worms? Fudge asked out of nowhere. I gave him a kick, but that didn't stop him. Peta says you eat them all the time, and he knows everything because he's naturally smart, except for matching questions. Mrs. Muldaur and Beverly looked at each other. Fudge continued, So did you? Did we what? Mrs. Muldaur asked. Eat worms for supper tonight. Alex let out a groan, and I could see our business going down the drain. Mrs. Muldaur smiled at Fudge. Yes, we did, she told him. Beverly added, There's nothing like home-baked worms, and my mother's recipe is the best. We eat them instead of cauliflower, Mrs. Muldaur said. We need to get our vitamins one way or another. Are your worms fortified? Fudge asked. Alex groaned again. My worms are naturally fortified, Mrs. Muldaur said. They're chock full of vitamins. No preservatives, nothing added. Just the real thing. She was beginning to sound like a commercial for worms. I could hear the announcer saying, Buy Mrs. Muldaur's naturally fortified worms. They're chock full of vitamins. Grind them up in your favorite recipe. Blend them into your milkshakes. Serve them instead of cauliflower on those special occasions. Would you like to taste my special worm cookies? Mrs. Muldaur asked Fudge. Yes, Fudge said, following Mrs. Muldaur into the house. We marched through the house to the kitchen. On the counter was a big plate of cookies. Fresh out of the oven, Mrs. Muldaur said. They look like chocolate chips, Fudge said. They are, Mrs. Muldaur told him. Chocolate chip worm cookies. Which part is worm? Fudge asked. Mrs. Muldaur laughed. You can't see the worms. I grind them up and mix them with the flour. Just like my commercial, I thought. Go on, Mrs. Muldaur said, offering the plate of cookies to Fudge. Take one. Fudge chose a cookie and held it to his lips, but he hesitated, and I could see that he wasn't sure he really wanted to taste a chocolate chip worm cookie after all. Beverly took one and shoved it into her mouth all at once. She said, these are really good, Mother. She took another and ate it quickly. Then she brushed the crumbs off her hands. Fudge bit into his cookie. He chewed it up very slowly. It's good, he said. You can't even taste the worms. Mrs. Muldaur offered the plate to Alex and me. We each took a cookie. Fudge asked if he could have another, and Mrs. Muldaur said she'd do better than that. She wrapped a little package of cookies for him to take with him. When we got home, Fudge dumped out his pillowcase on the dining room table. He arranged his loot into stacks and counted everything. 11 M&Ms, 7 Nestle Crunch, 5 Hershey's without almonds, 3 with, 2 Milky Ways, 1 granola bar, 4 apples, and 6 worm cookies. What did you say? Mom asked him. Nothing, Mom, I told her. He didn't say anything. Did you, Fudge? Here, Mommy, Fudge said. Have a cookie. Miss Moldauer just baked them. Thank you, Mom said. She tasted it. Very good. I wonder where she got her recipe. It's been in her family for a long time, I said. And they're naturally fortified with... I didn't give him a chance to finish. No preservatives, no additives, naturally fortified, and chock full of vitamins. Right, Fudge? Right, Peter, he said, smiling. And I knew that he understood. And that's where I'm going to stop for today. Tomorrow, another chapter of Superfudge. See you guys later.